Hey guys, happy Monday or Tuesday or whatever day you're watching this video. I wanted to make this video to explain a few important concepts that you are going to be using this week. Okay, so the first concept that I want to talk about here is figurative language. Okay? Figurative language is language that is not literal. Okay? There is a deeper meaning beyond the literal translation. Okay? It is the use of words in a way that deviates, okay, or is different from the normal order and meaning of words in order to express a more complicated or a deeper meaning. Okay? So it's language that we use, it's not literal, to say something more complicated, okay? Some examples of figurative language that we're going to talk about today are simile, metaphor, personification. Okay, those are the three really big ones that are very important to know. Okay, simile, metaphor, and personification. We want to know what those mean. And those aren't the only kinds of figurative language. You also have hyperbole and synecdoche, which we're not going to talk about right now. Okay, so right now we're concerned with simile, metaphor, and personification. So right now I have a question for you. What is figurative language? Let's see if you can answer the question. Okay, next we're going to talk about simile. Simile is a figure of speech, so it's figurative language. It's not literal, involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. It uses the words like or as. Okay? Some examples here. He is as brave as a lion. This is a simile. It's comparing a man to a lion. Okay? It's kind of helping us to understand just how brave he is. If you don't know this word, we can define it really quick. Okay, we see valiant. If you speak Spanish, you will know that brave is valiente. Okay? And here are some other synonyms here. Another example of a simile. Life is like a box of chocolates. This is from a famous movie. Okay, why is this a simile? You're comparing life to a box of chocolates. Okay, using the word like. Okay? Comparison of two things, kind of to help us get a deeper understanding. So let's see now if you can identify a simile. Let's see if you can answer this question. Okay. Finally, we're going to talk, not finally. Next, we're going to talk about metaphor. Metaphor is a figure of speech, so it's figurative language involving the comparison of one thing with another thing of a different kind. So it's very similar to a simile, but it's different because it does not use like or as. Does not use like or as. Okay, so let's look at some examples here. He has a heart of gold. So here, this is metaphor. This is metaphorical language here because it's saying his heart is made of gold, is gold. His heart is gold. Okay, it's not saying his heart is like gold. It's saying his heart is gold. And we know that a heart cannot be gold. Okay? This is a metaphor. It's comparing a heart with gold. Basically saying that he has a good heart. He has a very kind or good heart. Okay? So we use metaphors sometimes to kind of get to a deeper meaning. Another example here is time is money. So time and money are two totally different things. Okay? This is a metaphor because we're not saying time is like money. We are saying time is money. And we have to think about it a little bit. What do they mean here? Okay? So basically, we're saying time is money because your time, you can earn money in a set amount of time. Okay? Time is money. Let's see if you can answer this next question about metaphor. Let's see if you can identify the metaphor. Okay, so we talked about metaphor, we talked about simile. These are both comparisons of two unlike things. Simile uses the words like or as. Metaphor does not use like or as. Personification. Personification, if you notice, if you look at the word, it has the word person in it. Personification is when you give human characteristics or qualities to something that is non-human or not human. So here are some examples. The stars winked at me. Hopefully you guys know what stars are. If you don't, you can always use your handy little extension here. Okay? So stars cannot wink. And if you don't know this word, we can do the same thing here. Okay? Stars do not wink. That is only something that people do. Okay? So this is personification. It's not something that is we can read it literally. Okay? This is not something that can really happen. This is figurative language. It is personification because we are saying that stars, which are non-human, they're winking. Another example we have is the car brakes screamed. If you don't know this word, we can use our extension here. So this is not really, so frenos, okay? The car brakes screamed. Okay? Screaming is something that only people can do. Only people can scream. So when you say car brakes screamed, that is an example of personification. Car brakes do not scream. Only people scream. Let's see if you can identify an example of personification. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about imagery. Okay? Imagery isn't always using figurative language, but we are going to be talking about imagery this week in class. Okay? Imagery is language that appeals to any of the 5 senses. Los 5 sentidos, right? Sight, sound, scent, taste, or touch. Usually when we think of imagery, we think of sight. Okay? But it can also be language that is describing or that is descriptive, and that it is kind of talking about one of these 5 senses. Okay, so here's our first example of imagery. The night was black as ever, but bright stars lit up the sky. Which one do you think this is appealing to? Which of the 5 senses? This would be an example of imagery. This is sight, because we're saying the night was black and we have bright stars. Okay? So this is appealing to our sense of sight. It helps us to visualize or understand the just what's happening, right? We're in nighttime. There are bright stars in the sky and it's very dark out. The next example we have here is she smelled the scent of sweet hibiscus. Hibiscus is a type of plant wafting through the air. Okay? So it's saying that it's a scent, it's sweet. It's tropical smell. So now the smell is tropical. A reminder that she was on vacation. Okay, so the words in this sentence help us to visualize or imagine the smell of hibiscus. It's a sweet smell. It's a tropical smell. Okay, this is another example of imagery. The last example we have here, the grass tickled his skin and sweat cooled his brow. Okay, this one here is appealing to our sense of touch. Okay, grass is tickling his skin and his sweat is cooling his brow. Okay, sweat, sudor, cooling, it's making it colder. So this is another word here that helps us to visualize how this person is feeling. Let's see if you can identify which sense the next example is appealing to. Okay, just to recap, today we talked about figurative language, okay? It's language that is not literal. There's a deeper meaning, okay? And it helps us to understand, helps us to get a deeper understanding of certain sections of text. We talked about simile, comparison of two unlike things using the words like or as. We talked about metaphor. This is kind of like a simile. It's a comparison of two unlike things that does not use the words like or as. We talked about personification, giving human characteristics to something that's not human. And we talked about imagery, or language that is used to help us visualize or better help us to understand how a person or character, what they're seeing, what they are hearing, what they're smelling, what they're tasting, or what they are feeling or touching. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in class.